Hi everyone, it's Maya. Today I'm going to be discussing a somewhat contentious topic. Can Leah Clark, Girl of the Year 2016, be considered a doll of color? So, this month, September, is Doll of Color Month on Instagram. For those of you who may not be familiar with this, Doll of Color Month is an annual celebration of dolls of color led by the Instagrammer Once Upon an American Girl. Anyone can choose to participate by following the daily prompts and taking photos featuring their dolls of color. I highly encourage you guys to check out the hashtags DOC Month or DOC Month 2020 if you're interested in participating or just want to see the photos people have been sharing. So, DOC Month has been going on for a few years now, and it seems like every September the debate around Leah Clark emerges once again. I'm going to say this up front, my TLDR answer is no, Leah is not a doll of color. But this is just my opinion. I encourage you guys to keep watching if you want to learn more about my reasoning and what arguments people make in general about this topic. So first, a disclaimer. I haven't actually read Leah's books or seen her movie. My information is coming primarily from the AG Wiki, so if you are more familiar with her story and anything I say sounds wrong to you, please let me know in the comments. So, the character of Leah Clark is said to be 1/8 Brazilian. But what does this actually mean? Well, Brazil is a very diverse country. Here in the US, many people have a stereotypical view of what Brazilians look like. I think the quintessential Brazilian would be Adriana Lima. But Brazilians can be indigenous, white, black, Arab, Asian, mixed, and more. For example, the supermodel Giselle is Brazilian, but her ancestry is German. It's also important to acknowledge that racial categories in Brazil are different from those in the US. However, since Leah is American, I feel that both countries' concepts of race are applicable here. To my knowledge, AG has never given more specific detail regarding Leah's Brazilian heritage beyond that her grandmother's father was from Brazil. So we can't say for sure whether her Brazilian ancestors identified as white or whether they would be perceived as white in the US. So first, another disclaimer, I want to emphasize that what I'm about to say here does not necessarily apply to many indigenous groups who have their own regulations regarding tribal membership and blood quantum. So this is where it starts to get tricky. Let's assume that Leah's Brazilian great-grandfather was not white. I personally still would not consider Leah to be a doll of color. Why? Well, though I can't speak on behalf of all multiracial people, I am biracial myself. And given how Leah is portrayed by American Girl, I can say pretty confidently that I don't think she would identify as a person of color if she were a real person. The Leah doll does have medium skin, but the actress who portrays her in the movie is white, and I think she appears white on the book illustrations as well. There are many white-passing multiracial people who have unique experiences, and I don't want to invalidate these experiences. But ultimately, Leah seems to present as white and live as white, and she has little connection to her Brazilian heritage. In my eyes, race comes down to how you identify and how you are perceived, and there is no indication that Leah identifies or is perceived as anything but white, and the same goes for the rest of her family members. So basically, in my eyes, Leah is not a doll of color unless you change your Leah doll's background. But I do want to point something out. Think for a minute about why you're changing your Leah doll's background. Did you do research and create a thoughtful background story for a doll of color Leah? Or did you just want to have another doll to include in your Doll of Color Month photos? At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with people making their Leah a doll of color, but I do think it's important that if you do, you are respectful and create a realistic background story for your doll. Don't be like AG and say 1/8 Brazilian with no other details or thought put in. But most important of all, Doll of Color Month is about celebrating dolls of color. But the dolls of color and real people of color who need visibility and support the most are not those that look like Leah Clark. So, that was kind of a heavy topic for one of my videos, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and maybe learned something along the way. If I encourage just one person to do some research for themselves or just think more about their dolls' backgrounds, then I'll be happy. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!